So lads, this is our first episode of the Rebel Recovery podcast, and today I have my good friend and very good man in recovery, Adrian Bowen. Very welcome on, Adrian. Thanks very much for coming on, boy.
Thanks, Jack. Right, good to be on, and good to get the message out there to people, about mental health and addiction and recovery, that you can recover. So it's good to be here, man. 100%. Thanks for asking me.
So for the people out there that don't know Adrian, would you like to share your experience?
I grew up in the north side of the city, Jack, and I grew up around Shandon.
Right.
And, I would have come in from a good home, but it was alcoholic home, you know what I mean? And from day one, I would have felt that the odds were stacked against me, My mental health was a big thing in my family, because my father committed suicide when I was 6 months old, so I already came into the world with that, and my mother found him, and that wasn't easy in her, and it's still not easy today. That's 41 years ago, so that alone, just coming into being born and into that, and seeing the destruction from a kid, of what alcohol done to the family and what people's decisions can do to family members, so that's the way I came in, I picked up a drink at 14, but I just done it to fit in, I know that, when I picked up a drink and drugs at the same time, I just felt alright I felt alright, and I was very uneasy as a child. I see that today, I see I was very unsettled as a child and when I found drinking drugs, I was just I felt alright, I felt alright, man. So I picked up a drinking drugs at 14, and that's set. What was set then for me after that, I would never have bargained for it. That was at 14, I always progressed in drinking and drugs. And I just found and the people that I grew up with, were good lads, But that was just the way of our life, you know what I mean? But I just took it to it, I just went onto other stuff, man, and I wanted, I could be on, Budweiser. It was the first thing I drank, and 6 bottles at 14, or 15, and then I was onto ecstasy and speed, and I was full of stuff, fair buying and stuff at home buying, and I was always trying to protect my mother as well, because I loved the woman to bits, and she reared me the best way she could, you know what I mean, and she done her best and thank God for her.
And when did it kind of get bad for you, Adrian?
When I was 17, I started taking cocaine, then I got in debt, and it caused an awful lot of pressure in the home. I was bringing people to the door, just an awful lot of pressure in my head. And at 21, I would have suicidal thoughts, because I couldn't deal with my life normally. I found drugs, and then through the drugs brought pressure, and I didn't know how to escape anyway. I was just remembered by my mother, and she reminded me there a while back that when I was 21, the fire brigade had to come in through the terrace and cut me down off a pole, a big electricity pole. I had a rope around my neck, and some fella was after spot me at 2 o'clock in the morning. But I didn't want to kill myself at all. I was just cry out for help, you know what I mean? I wanted somebody to fucking help me. And but they were the kind of thoughts back then, no good was ever going to come from that.
Yeah. Talking about the pressure. So, you were talking about it coming around your door and stuff like that,
Yeah.
What was the kind of situation there,
Yeah, there'd be people knocking at the door, and they'd be fucking threatening, and, I had an attitude then, I just didn't care, but I was bringing it on to my mum, and my mother used to have to bail me out then back then, and then I get things right. I went into treatment in 21, into Table Lodge.
Right.
And I went to fellowship post straight after for 3 months. And everything was clear then, my debts were clear, and I could have swore that, right, I'm never going to get back to this situation.
Yeah, never.
I could nearly fucking feel that I'm not going to get back to this situation. And then I didn't stick around long, I sticked around for about 2 or 3 weeks, but people used to be telling me, you go back up to Brian and you get 10 times worse. I just didn't listen, I was young, I didn't know about alcoholism, I didn't know about addiction, and I went back over to 21 and it caused more and more damage to my family and to myself, more importantly. And then again, when the shit hit the fan, I'd always reach out for help. I knew it was wrong in myself because I grew up with a good family with good morals and respect people, respect your elders, have manners. Yeah. But even though I had it, my addiction was pulling me, doing stuff that I didn't want to be doing to me, you know, like taking stuff at home and selling stuff and not able to turn up from things and then when all the bars going out the door, then it was knock-on effect into the mental health.
Of course.
Put myself down, you know what I mean, and the mind is fucking so powerful, but
100%.
you know, I've done an awful lot of work on just the mind, how it works, like, and listening to people and podcasts and stuff like that, just to get more awareness on myself, like on my own thinking. Yeah, so that was at 21, and I got worse, you know. Then I started selling it,
right?
You know, but I wasn't selling it. People used to give it to me to sell,
right?
I remember a fella gave it to me one time to sell, and so I ended up taking it. You know what I mean? And then he gave me more to cover up what I just sold.
Yeah.
And I ended up taking that. Two people came into the house, but I didn't know what was going to happen. But I know I had to tell them because I couldn't be dodging. You know what I mean? North side is small.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so then I sorted out that then. But then as I said, like one thing be sorted and
so
I'd be great. Then again, here we go again at 24. Then like I picked up heroin. You know, that was a different game for me. Like that. Yeah, it was like, you know, when you think you can't get any worse, then your morals and stuff. Just everything goes out the window, like, and you know, chasing, like I was never happy with myself, never content with myself. My head, but I was always out to get me. I always say, like, I had a good family around me, but I always showed that positive side of life. I was attracted to it. When I was in treatment centres, my grandmother would always, you know, I might see her for a few weeks, but she'd always say, no, I cared. Or it did an awful lot to me because I had an awful image of myself. Like,
I would have been the same with the nuns there, Adrian, because, you know, I'd have been out there with a few lads and you'd see the difference in fellas that didn't have people coming out. But I was lucky enough then to have my mum coming out every Sunday and she'd bring up food for me when we'd go out for a while and, you know, she'd be there, and that support got me through that. Do you know what I mean? Because without that, if I was up there by myself without any kind of support, I don't know would I be in this position in I actually kind of felt a lot of compassion for them people, because you'd see them from weeks would be going by, and they wouldn't have no one coming up, and you know, like, they have family at home and they have kids, they have this, they have that, but you know, whatever happened, whatever went on. But you know, and that the nuns really was my kind of my saviour. It was like, it was free, you know, like, you go out there, it's all kind of prayer, you get down on your hands and knees every morning, you go to mass, you know, it teaches you structure again, It's kind of like, it's not a treatment centre, obviously, it's not HSE funded, it's a charity, so people can kind of, you know, after a week you're left out for an hour, you know, so it doesn't suit some people, right? But the thing is if you actually go in there with the right intentions, you learn a lot. Like, I found God in there, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I fully did, like, you know, and it changed my life by the people I met in there. And as I said, I met John Paul in there. But John Paul was just leaving at the time when I was coming in. But even in that last week, he was there for a week, you know, and he was leaving. It was my first week. But the lessons he taught me in that first week, I carried them forward.
So it works.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of used to say, like, you know, we'd have the group meetings in the nuns, right? And a counsellor would come in and we'd have the group meeting. And after a while, after I started building up my confidence, and I kind of got that close connection with God. And I don't know what happened, but there was something came over me. Do you know, I was hearing all about this, passing on the message. And I got this overwhelming feeling that God had kept me on in this world to pass that message on to the next person and shine the light that he's after giving me this light for me to shine that onto the next person. And I said that in the nuns, in the group meetings, I want to kind of get out of here and start spreading the message as much as I can and reach as much people as I can.
Everything by my life as well, is just it's like that, speaking about it and putting in a bit of work behind it, by things work out. And like, there's so much resources there now for people today. Like, there's meetings all over the city. There's loads of them. There's, like, the nuns, you said, there's Table Lodge, Fellowship House. You know what I mean? The help is there, like, and like, some people don't know about meetings. You know what I mean? And that's why the podcast is good, to get the message out. As you said, the nice the devil of all. Like, I can remember watching the boys, the two Norries in 2018, in the heights of it at that time. But it set something off, man. And that's when you asked me to come on, I was like, you know what, this is for somebody else.
Some of the messages I get there on TikTok, you know, obviously I started making them TikTok videos and just trying to spread that message, like, as we talk about. And some of the messages are overwhelming,
Yeah.
just how beautiful they are from strangers. Do you know, you're after helping me with this and I'm going through this is after helping me so much. Or like people reaching out saying, you know, my son is going through this, and being able to give them advice and not want nothing back. I said it, we were talking the other day and we said that about giving out and not wanting back or not expecting back, because we're so used to an addiction. I wouldn't be sitting down here now in addiction with you unless I wanted something from you.
That's when you do something with no intention behind it, it always works up. I was saying I was on the boys' podcast today, right? And like that story that I told you the other night, my aunt in America was gone in my life for 27 years since I was 14, and I went on the podcast, and the intention again was to help somebody. Like, you know, I said that in the boys' podcast. Look, this always to help somebody, you know, and I finished the podcast, but a week later, my aunt in America texted me on Instagram, and she said, I don't know if this account is active, but here I go. She reached out to me, in other words. No, me and her are video calling each other all the time, and she's talking to my daughter now, who was 10, and we have the connection back after 27 years. But her friend seen the podcast in Blackpool, and she sent her the link in America, and that pushed her to get onto me. No, I would have never. I thinking of getting that to her for some, maybe down the line. And I was like gobsmacked, man. And now we have the connection back and the relationship back, which is better than ever. Now she'd be telling me stuff about my dad, but that I never even knew. And she sent me on stuff of pictures of him that I never had, and stuff what he used to be doing, and how much of a bit of a mess he was. You know, if I didn't go on that podcast, that would never have happened. When you put up good energy to people, it comes back.
What was the kind of lowest point for you?
It was low for a very long time, you know. It was low for a good few years, and but just trying to make it through day by day, you know. But I always was able to get drugs, but like that again, the drug would only sort me out for a while. Then when I come down off it, I'm back on the train again. You know, I was a struggle for a long time, but there was a lot of things Jack led into effect. There was my daughter wasn't in my life. I had court cases, you know. And then to top it off, then I was very, very suicidal. I remember that time up in my mother's house, and that thought was very, very overwhelming, you know, and thought that everybody was better off without me, and what's the point, you know what I mean? And I remember sitting with it for a good hour or two inside the house, and I was drinking that night. I wasn't taking any drugs, and then the thought was very overpowering, and I knew I was probably going to do something that night if I was ever going to do anything. But I just thought of my daughter, and I thought about my dad, and these things were going through my mind at the time. That, you know what, there's a way out of this. Like, I was in treatment centres, and I knew, like, it was like everything that was being said to me years ago was coming into my mind and was playing some part of effect. You know what I mean? Because something was registered there that night. Because like I wasn't, even though the thought was overpowering that I wanted to kill myself, I had a plan. It was just the next step was to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was going to do it in the house, and there was nobody in the house, and I got a fright, you know, I got a fright, and I said, all right. I remember somebody said, if thoughts come into your head like that, get up and do something. You know what I mean? So I got up and went for a walk in town.
Right.
And I often share this, like, and I bumped into two people, like, and I was chatting to them. They were saying, come on, we're going up to a meeting and stuff like that. And I said, no, it was a Saturday night. And I said, Monday I'll do it, because I was after drinking that night, but the drink wasn't doing what I used to before. I used to enjoy myself and drink. I used to have a laugh. I used to be outgoing, and mentally, but I was just torturing my mind, like, and I wasn't doing that, and so I wasn't working, you know. And so I carried on that night, and I got a bottle of vodka, and I went home, and that the suicidal thought was gone. You know what I mean? And I ended up obviously going to sleep, and woke up on the Sunday, and I took a few relaxes, I think, on the Sunday just to get me through the day. And Monday then, the 12th of October, I just was done. I was going through withdrawals for heroin. I was going through, I was on the methadone from our house. I cut my doctor straight away, you know, I didn't go up to him. I might never get that chance again, where I was mentally done with it. So I didn't even go up to him, and I knew I had a long sickness ahead of me, you know what I mean? So then I carried on my methadone. I wouldn't advise anybody to come off the thing, do it as prescribed, like. And I was at 90 mils of methadone every week. So I said I want to come down 10 mils every 2 weeks.
Right.
So I done it nice and gradually, and after about, I think it was 5 or 6 weeks, I was off it then. But I was still going through withdrawals from that, like, like I was 8.5 stone, but I knew I had to go through it. You know? I had to go through it. I heard people saying, like, you know, you go through it and you come out the other side. You know, I was at the same point. I was watching a lot of videos and motivational videos and stuff like that. You know, to keep my mind good, like, and fresh. And so a lot of all that kind of stuff powered my system. You know what I mean? My mental health, and got me through. And I got through the detox. I got through my own detox after a while, and I was clean from heroin, and then the methadone went, and I was clean from tablets, and I know I just had to throw in the towel with everything, surrender with everything, by like with me, you know yourself, with you as well, I suppose, and every addict or alcoholic, or either all in or nothing.
That's it.
Work or anything, or if it's like I have to be in, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something.
100%.
100%.
I'll just give a fast shout out to our sponsors there for today, the Old Mill Confectionery. So my good buddy Danny Buckley.
Good man.
If you haven't tried out his cakes yet, lads, they're the nicest cakes in Ireland. I can swear down on that. They're amazing, aren't they? They're unbelievable. And just get yourself a box of them there now. This is your sign to go and get them, because I'm telling you, if I wasn't training for the fight there now at the moment and cutting a bit of weight, I'd be mangling myself after. So thanks very much, Danny, and Old Mill Confectionery, lads, get at it. And I started my journey then by 5 years ago, and I just listened to people, you know, meetings outside of recovery. I was doing the gym, you know, I had nothing going for me in my life, you know what I mean? What I had going was that I was sober, which was priceless at that time, and still is today. But as in materially or relationship wise, the kind of things then you expect then when you kind of get sober. You're kind of saying, where's the flashy car, where's the you know what I mean, where's the girlfriend, where's this, where's that? It all back at once, don't you?
I have a lot of trust now, obviously, in 5 years ago. Like I have it all back, but you know, better, you know what I mean? I have trust with my family. I'm there from, you know, my sister, and you know, my old dad, and my daughter, and I have a very simple life. I've nothing too extravagant, but what I set my mind on, what I go for. You know, I always wanted to travel when I was drinking and using, but my radar was Shandon Street, Grawn, Knocknaheeny, Churchfield, town. You never got outside that radius. I always wanted to travel, Jack, but remember when I was 11, my mother brought me to America. She was off to get her 2-year medallion. She was sober 2 years at that time. And I just everybody has a different thing there. Like, I just had something for seeing other places, you know what I mean? But I always wanted to do it when I was young, but when I was drinking and drunk, I couldn't do it.
Yes.
So when I got sober then, I said, you know what, I want to get to see as many countries as I can. And we went to Turkey there about 4 years ago. Went on a cruise ship the first cruise ship we went on, seen 4 or 5 countries. We're only back from another cruise ship there only a couple of weeks. So I came with this one by, and I had to be on them by, and this is the way I'd be thinking. I'd be like, this is it, man. This is it. Like, but like, I remember a woman, I was working in construction, I was about 2 years into working, and I was working with this construction crew, and this woman used to pass me every day. But this one day she passed me, and she said something to me. She was an elderly woman, and you know, the wisdom, like,
of course, yeah.
She was saying hi, and she'd always just salute and go, but this time she stopped, and she said hi, and I was chatting away to her, and I was saying, we're going away on holidays, and you know, it was summertime. And she was saying, I tell you no, boy, she said, life isn't a dress rehearsal. She said, you don't get another shot at it. She said, this is the live show. She says, well, you're here to do everything because you're not promised. You're not promised tomorrow, man, and you're not, you know what I mean? And I took that was 3 or 4 years ago. I took it, that woman still stays in my mind, and I see people getting caught up with bills and you know, I've financial stuff going on, like, I don't let it bother me, man.
I made a video about that there on TikTok the other day, about the anxiety kind of side of things anyway. About, I think, if people actually just, because I know we're on a program, and it's, you know, just for today. You know, we're told that. But for what I was trying to get at is the wider audience is for people to get on that as well, just live in today.
Just today, man.
Do you know, and plan what's in front of you, and take on what's in front of you, because people are so far forward or so far backwards that they actually can't see what's in front of them.
I have a positive outlook in life. It is really only today. If we get up tomorrow, man, you might have to go to the doctor, but you can get a different blood result back then.
That's it,
and
right.
it changes your whole way, man. You know, and that's the way I'd be thinking. You think that way, I think it makes your life a lot better.
100%,
You know, you have a different lens.
Yeah.
You know, I just learned how to change my thinking, man.
That's what I love about your story as well, guys. You know, the bounce backs.
Yeah.
You know, like you went to treatment, you came out relapsed. You know, but you kept going. Like
Kept going,
you
man.
kept persistent, and you know, I know that's the case as well for a lot of people out there. Do you know, I see a lot of people kind of saying, "What's the point? I'm after trying." Do you know, a lot of people get onto me on TikTok. I'm after trying the meetings. I'm after trying treatment. It didn't work. Do you know? But I love that about your story, guys. The persistence. Do you know, and for people out there that are, do you know, falling in and out of it,
Yeah.
what would be your kind of your advice to them? Like?
As you said, keep going, man. I always thought I was there. I remember in 2019, I was in another treatment centre, and I done 5 months down there in Brewery, and I came out and I was back at it again that day. And I can remember a few weeks afterwards, man, I thought, like, why can't I get sober, man?
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking of other people that were after getting their lives together, that were in addiction and they were after moving on. And I was like, I just thought I was one of them people, but I was just stupid. It has nothing to do with stupidness or anything, or intelligence, you know. Addiction gets everybody, rich, poor, it doesn't discriminate by it, doesn't care who you are. But like, just keep going, man, pick up the phone, and just help out there, you know. You have to take the first step and you have to reach out.
Yeah.
There's, like, as I said, like, I'm naming the places there, there's Airvo House, there's Brewery, there's meetings, there's social media that people are on it.
100%.
Text somebody, you know, and your life, man, will get way better, man.
Definitely.
You know, I could never envision of how my life changed. Somebody told me when I was 21, when I was in the depths of it, that you were going to go through this in addiction. I would have said no way. But then if somebody told me at the start of my recovery, this is what's going to happen in your recovery. You're going to get peace of mind, which is the one. You're going to get your daughter back. You're going to travel the world. You're going to meet your partner. You're going to get engaged. You're going to build a life. After driving a 40, you know, I'm going to 42 now. But like, that's like, be able to make choices today, not being caught up by the addiction. I tell you now, but you know yourself, it makes every choice for you. Stuff you want to do, really want to do, and then the drug will pull you, and you're doing what the drug wanted, and the disease in the mind. But when you get sober, you can make all these decisions, and you can go from. And some decisions I made in recovery didn't work out. I made them. It's just life, like. Yeah. But if there's somebody out there, man, that's struggling, man, and there's a no, but it's just like, recovery does work, but you have to, like what I done, and I made the first step. I got back into meetings, and I asked people, I asked 1 or 2 good members, and they gave me their time, and they sat down with me and they explained stuff to me and what I needed to do, you know, and I took it on board and I got serious about it, you know, and you have to be all in.
I think the thing as well, is you have to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
So I know the situation with yourself about your daughter, and you've other things that you want back. But I've seen it an awful lot anyway so far in my journey, is people doing it for other people, and that does not work. It doesn't work. Like, you know, I see I want to get my wife back, I want to get my child back, and I'm doing it for them, I'm doing it for it just doesn't work, does it?
I tried it for years. I was 21, as I said, and for 16 years, 15 years and out of recovery, I tried it for my mother because it was pressure from her and saying just bearing orders, so I'd done it for that reason. I'd done it for my own situation with girls, and done it for the girls to get them off my back. I tried it for my daughter, didn't work. When I made this decision for myself. But
I was going to ask you as well, do you know, about the daughter, your daughter, right? So obviously there's people out there who've lost custody of their kids, who are coming into early recovery, who, do you know, don't know how they're going to get them back, or, do you know, they need, do you know, some form of advice or some form of what are they supposed, you know?
Yeah, well, like,
from your own kind of perspective, from your own opinion, like.
You just do the right thing, like, you just, like, your child is your child at the end of the day, like, you know what I mean? And like, if it sits well with you not to go for your child, then that's alright for you, but it would never sit well for me, you know what I mean? I had to fight for my child, and I knew I was going to do everything to get her, you know what I mean? And the only thing that stopped me for years was drinking drugs. To take them out of the situation, I'm actually a good young fella. Every child deserves the father or mother, like, and that's what recovery gives you, is about getting the things you couldn't do, like when you were drinking and drugging, you know. you rebuild your life, you know, you recover. Recovery is the word.
Like they say you recover things that you had. But I actually got back things that I'd never had. It's peace of mind, confidence.
Yeah.
If you told me there, like when I was young, I'd be able to sit. I couldn't sit down and talk to someone back.
Yeah,
I couldn't make eye contact with people. I couldn't, because I don't know. I was just the way I was kind of rare. Do you know what I mean? All the isms when I was young, before I ever picked up a drink or drugs back, I knew that I was screwed back.
I learned from people that when you put it down, you have to build your life. You know what I mean? It's about rebuilding. I never had a life either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I never had any of this stuff. You know what I mean? I had my daughter, but the way mentally, I never had that mental side of it. And everything comes back into your life, but when you put in a positive outlook and stuff, 100%. You know, and you know, like the rewards are there if you want to go for like the stuff I could have just not bothered going from. You know what I mean? Because it caused me too much stress. But like when you build a good mental side, you can go for anything. So I always strive for the good things in life.
What I find in the tough times is like when you have that kind of awareness, you can kind of say to yourself, right, this is going to be tough here now. I'll double down on my meetings. I'll pick up the phone. I'll ring someone. Like to have the awareness to be able to, you know, those tools you talked about, having those and being able to say to yourself, right, this week's going to be tough now. I have this coming up. I have that.
Yeah.
And being able to kind of just shelter yourself a bit. You know what I mean, and protect yourself.
If I take one drink of drug, it's all gone. But thank God, you know, that thought or stuff doesn't come up recently, you know, even on the cruise ship there, you know, free drink. The one time I'm on the ship, there was free drink for the week, you know what I mean? Yeah, but I don't want to, like, you know, because I know, like, I said this to my dad last time, when I was on the ship, right? Yeah. There was a fella behind the bar, like, and he was like, why don't you drink, my friend? And I was like, nah, man, I don't drink. And he was like, just one. I was like, no. And he was like, maybe the last day. And I was like, no. And the last day, he was behind the bar again, and he was like, you drink now, my friend? And there was nobody there, right? They brought over and said no. But I had to talk to him. My head thought was like, if you had a drink here, no, nobody would know. They wouldn't know.
Of course.
I know. They'd know after about half an hour. Because it wouldn't be one. It'd be fucking 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'd end up somewhere, probably end up in the cell in the ship. And I see I learned that about myself. But when I drink by, it just changes my thinking. You know what I mean? I don't set up to do anything to anybody, hurt or harm anybody. I just become very messy when I drink
100%.
and when I take drugs.
Is especially now, after, like we had the chat the other day about what would happen if you took a drink or drugs, like your head is so full of recovery, so full of this journey, and then you have a belly full of drinking drugs back. That's the worst situation to be in.
That suicide comes in, because I picture myself, I see people walking down the street that are in recovery, right? And if I go back drinking and drugging, I go on. Like, I see somebody walking down the street that I know that I'm in recovery. I was in recovery with. See, my head will do a number of me. My head will say, "Remember you were like that. You had this, it's gone. Remember you had a car, it was gone. Remember the relationship with your daughter, it was gone." And all that stuff I would build, and then the disease has me, and it just take me out. I'm always looking to better myself in life. Whereas in the addiction, I was putting myself down. I was fucking killing myself, and I always looked to better stuff, man. You know, like the moment I know me and my partner are going for a house. You know what I mean? We're getting a house, and when that happens, it's always, you know, I'm always striving to keep going. You know, where I was in squats. I used to be in squats, man, using. You know what I mean? And when I look at my life today, I'd be pinching myself sometimes, engaged, going for a house, my daughter, travelling the world. I know a lot of people, Jack, I say it's from the body dead, man. I know a lot of people by that don't get this by the mental side of this, by the easier option is just take your life. What that leaves them by is mothers without a son or a daughter. And I never take this for granted, by you know, I just like, you know, it's the message is like, if somebody is out there, reach out, man, your life will get better. It has to get better. You know what I mean? It has to. That was drilled into me. Like, it can't get any worse. So the only way it could get worse is if I took my own life. A fella said that to me before. He said, you know, like, you can only go up no, Adrian, man. You know, and I listened to that. And I love by getting the message out there for people, because like, I always bring it back to myself, Jack, but where I was by an addiction, by that, so many people helped me. You know what I mean? So many people gave me their time. So many people spent hours sitting down just talking, normal conversations, but I was listening. You know, there's so many people that would give you the benefit of the doubt, they don't judge you, you know what I mean? Because I was the biggest critic of myself. I went to recovery and people aren't, and some people do, but you know, like when you go to work or whatever, some people, they don't judge you, man, you know what I mean? Knowing that somebody would be listening and it might help somebody.
When I was in Blarney there that time, like we had the meeting there, I was telling you about this the other day, the meeting next door in Blarney, you were doing the chair, and I remember hearing their story, like, and I went back that evening and I was like, fucking hell. Do you know, as we said there a while ago, when you hear people go through certain things and can still get there, I was just saying to myself, like, the message I got from you that night, I was like, that was incredible, like. And it was the same again the other night. I was just saying to myself, you know, it's unbelievable, like.
I don't want to sit in and dwell and stuff. Like as I said, I have an awful lot of stuff coming up at the moment in life and a challenge and stuff, but I don't want to sit there and dwell on it, man. I get all my ducks in a row for situations.
That's it.
And then when the time comes, then you just face it, and if stuff walks over. I do an awful lot of meditation. Like I was down the other day, I went up to the beach and I'm living in Cove in 40 minutes, just up by the water, by just getting myself together down over the morning, and out there peace and quiet, thinking about stuff, you know. Stuff was coming into my mind about what I need to do, what I want to be doing. Will I buy a new car? I was like, you know what, I actually want to buy a car. You know what I mean? I learn by when stuff comes into my mind that it's in my mind for a reason. Like I listen to the thoughts and there'll be a lot of negative thoughts and I just let them go by. You know, I absorb them now by and I love being sober. But it's great, but the sun is shining today by 31 degrees.
And what the spirituality side of things?
So like I was always very spiritual growing up. My father committed suicide, as I was saying. And my mother used to always say, pray, like, you know, pray to your dad, Adrian. So I used to always pray to him from 11, like, that was as far back as I can remember, to 11. And so I always had that connection, like, with a higher power, like, but I was always praying for, you know, get me out of this, get me out of that, and, you know, when I didn't get out of it, then I didn't believe in it. There was something, man, looking over me, you know, just, like, all them years, because the situations I was in, there's places I was in, there was surroundings I was in, situations I got out of, escaped death, overdose, loads of times on heroin. You know, my mother obviously, she came through the terrorist scare in 2019. She seen me, an ambulance driver over me in the hall and I was clinically dead, like, you know, they had to bring me back with the injection and the Narcan. And so there were situations in my life where I know something was keeping me there. I mean, and so, yeah, that's very important in my life, you know, having that connection with a higher power. And I believe in it, I do. Everybody, as you said, everybody's beliefs are different.
That's it,
you know, and that's just life.
100%.
So, but this works for me.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? It works for me, and it's continuing to work, so I don't want to change it. What they say, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
That's it, Brian. Yeah,
right.
And you, as I said, you've a powerful story, right? You really do, and I really appreciate you coming on and chatting. You know,
thanks for asking me. Come on, right? Thanks, and fair play to you for doing this podcast.
Thanks very much
for getting the message out there. But I have to say, you're getting. You took a chance in it, by fair play. That's what life is about, by taking chances.
That's it, man.
Fair play, man.
Yeah, as you said there, I'd have never imagined this, like, do you know what I mean? But it's constant, like, just letting the gifts come into our life, by, and just, you know what I mean, manifesting them, by.
Get them up there, by.
That's it, by. But as I said, I got the light. I'm not going to just hold on to it. Oh, sure, I'm, you know what I mean? Everything's good for me now.
Yeah, if that helps.
It's all about giving it back, like. It really is, and that's what I'm trying to do with this. And
fair play, man.
Grow it, and you know, people like yourself here now coming on and telling people your story, right? And as I said, the bounce backs, the setbacks, all the loss, the tragedy, the toughness of it all, and to see you sitting here with the things you have in your life.
It all comes good, but.
But people will see that and say, you know what I mean? That gives you hope.
You have to give yourself a chance, but and just what I would say, like, last thing is, don't listen to your head, man. You know what I mean? The people out there, if there's someone out there struggling, don't listen to your head. Your head will tell you if it's all the negative stuff, man. You know, there's good people out there that can put you on the right track, like on the right path. I mean, and but the head is there to do a job, in you.
That's
it.
I mean,
the head is there.
It's out to get you, isn't it?
It's out to get you, boy. And it will get you if you leave it. You know, you have to keep it. You have to work with this, man. You have to put in an awful lot of work.
100%. Day in, day out.
If this was easy, by Parky Quay before.
Yeah.
It would, like. If this was easy, I know there's hundreds of people I know. If this was easy, they'd be able to do it, but it's hard, man. It's the mental side. You have to keep on top of it. You know. So like.
Well, man, boy, thanks very much for coming on.